Blues get a win over in Fiji, folks. 34 points to 5. Much needed win for the Blues and a bonus point. Coming in off a win over the Force the week before. And when the Drua had knocked over the Reds in Fiji last week, there was a bit of pressure on the Blues for this one. Pretty much a must-win game. And they did it. It wasn't flashy. It was certainly effective. 6 mauls to none. Scrum dominance, possession, territory, all the kind of very traditional stuff. And it worked a treat over in Fiji. Fiji kept scoreless until the kind of final 5 minutes of the game. We'll go over the events pretty quick, smart, but ultimately, my Blues keep their hopes alive with this win. And for Fiji, yeah, I could see it at the end. I mean, Masaki Dongia gave a kind of pretty well-crafted like post-match on-field interview. Yeah, you could tell he was really disappointed with how things had gone. Blues Maul had gone very close early, but knocked on. But their next chance sent Marcel Renata over. He is, if I'm not mistaken, our top try scorer this year. He seems to be getting some regular old tries. He had his arm in a bit of a kind of sling of his t-shirt at the end, so hopefully he's all good. But 5 points to nil early for the Blues is a good way to start over in Fiji, because once they get the crowd behind them, you feel like it is a different beast over there. But the Drua were honestly just hanging on, and whenever they got the ball, they just seemed to be dropping it or getting turned over. It was pretty rough watching from their point of view. It took 20 minutes for the Blues to get their second try. The Renata one was in the first 10, and then 22 minutes for the Funaki try. I am preferring him starting at 9. Nothing against Finlay Christie. I just think Funaki's got a slightly higher tempo game, and he snipes well. And he took this one from a snipe from the side of the ruck after the line-out had kind of given them a chance to go close. So 12 points to nil with the conversion. Starting to look pretty comfortable. I was a little bit surprised to see the Blues opt for the penalty on 27 minutes, because I was just thinking bonus point, but I guess you do have to secure the win. The penalty took it out to a 3-score lead, 15-0. And I guess, as I said, once you consider what happened to the Reds last week, because they lost it late in a game which had like genuinely massive momentum swings, the Blues didn't want that happening to them this week. So 15-0, not quite chasing the bonus point, but they came bloody close a few times. Rico got tackled trying to go over in the corner. Not quite from him. And that was all from the Drua losing like their one attacking line out down the Blues end in the entire first half. It was not a good first half from the Drua. Maybe one of the worst first halves of the season. They just were not allowed to play, and whatever chances they got, which were very limited, they kept mucking them up. And then Fusitua got the bonus point try, which they didn't relinquish. Close range after a maul. Choate had gone close in the next phase. Kind of barrels over. So Tutu with the pass for the assist. So 22 points to nil. Bonus point on the scoreboard. Territory, 73% Blues. Possession, 66% Blues. Clean breaks, 6-zip. Defenders beaten, 18-3. Turnovers conceded, 9-7 to the Drua. How do you have 34% of the ball and concede more turnovers? That's just the first half it was. It was hard watching from a Drua point of view. But as a Blues fan, it's one of those real, like, no high blood pressure here. They're just doing their thing. And then second half starts with a pretty good try as well. Drua conceded a penalty. Blues used that advantage to get themselves down the Drua end. Satutu with some carries and passes. One where he picks it up from his ankles. Proper kind of skill set that guy is. From Choate's kind of line-out pass. It was a tough one to take, but he took it. It was just one of those ones where if that was the Drua, it was definitely going to ground and probably would have led to a Blues counter-attack. But in this one, Satutu for the Blues is able to pick it up. Ta'avao is able to go over for the finish. It is not converted, but 27 points to nil. And that gives you another try to kind of buffer out the bonus point. The Drua just stuck down their own end. They had more ball in the second half. At times, just carrying phase after phase, trying to find a chink in the Blues armour. Eventually, they would just led to a kind of bit of a nothing kick, which then Bodie ran back at them and dinked and regathered and dinked over again. That led to the Forbes try, which is the one try they kind of scored with a bit of width in the game. The Blues, after playing with quite a lot of width last week against the Force, kept it a lot tighter this week against the Drua. 34 points to 0. That is the final scoring for the Blues. But the Drua, I mean, it looked like it was going to be a night where they get nailed when Tuwai had done everything but score the try. He goes over and just kind of loses the ball right over the line. But Ravutamanda gets one. He kind of very leads the line with a kind of break, and then that was massive overlap. It's a bounce pass to Ravutamanda, who's only just able to gather it, but he picks it up, goes over for a try. It's big cheer. Like, credit to the crowd. The crowd are still loving that try. The Fijian crowds are still phenomenal. But yeah, it's 5 points on the board in what was otherwise a pretty forgettable night for them. Game finishes. If you notice, there was only 78 minutes on the clock. It's another one of those examples where the clock we see on the TV is often, well, it's always not the official match clock. And it's often not quite in sync with the official match clock. You would think in 2025 they would have the technology to match those things up, but the broadcaster's clock is not the same as the official match clock. So it wasn't like the Blues kind of getting the bonus point hung on to avoid the Drua chasing down to take the bonus point away or anything like that. If there's any conspiracy theorists out there, there's just sometimes the clocks don't match. Possession finished 56-44 to the Blues, but the Drua actually had a decent amount in the second half. They had more ball in the second half, but the territory still like 74-26. So much ball down their own half, which is right where the Blues wanted them. Clean breaks 9-2. Defenders beaten 26-16. Turnovers conceded 15-11 to the Drua. So again, they still coughed up more ball. Turnovers won 7-5 to the Blues, so that was a good element of the game. Mauls 6-0. Solid scrum. I think they got pinged once at scrum time, but overall, really solid, tight performance for the Blues. Tuwai made 19 tackles on defense. For the Drua, could have had a try. Forbes and Bodie had 2 clean breaks. Riccatelli had 15 carries. So, yes, solid, efficient bonus point win for the Blues. Keeps my boys in the hunt. We wait to see how the other 3 games play out this weekend because it's a shortened round in terms of the number of games with 3 teams on the bye. But you guys let us know your thoughts. And, yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.